Radhe Radhe, Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to Shri Radha Vinobihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauri Guruvarga ki jai, Pati Pavan Shri Nityanand Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vinobihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Radha Bankin Rai ki jai. We have visitors. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Yes, they're very ancient visitors. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.
Dandava Pranam, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, page 1 of this book, Sri Gauriya Giti Guccha. While I'm at it, I'm going to advertise another book, an amazing book, Going Beyond Vaikuntha. You should definitely avail yourself of the opportunity of reading this book, studying it and taking it deeply into your heart. And this book here, it's like my favorite, Secret Truths of the Bhagavatam. It is amazing. All of Srila Gurudev's beautiful moods present in these books. So make sure you get yourself a copy. You can also digitally download them on purebhakti.com in the book section. So, page 1 of this book, Mangalacharan, Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namahum Vishnupadaya Gaurapreshaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Keshavati Namine Adimartyacharitraya Swashritananchapaline Jiva-dukhe sadartaya Shri-nama premadayine Namahum Vishnupadaya Krishna-preshthaya bhutale Srimate Bhakti-siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri-varshabhanavi Devi Layitaya Kripabhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktina Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinaparine Rupanugam Virudhapo Siddhanta Dvantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambhara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachirananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Parayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumesvam Nirneshta Sajana Priya Vaisnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jaganathayate Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahamanandhyaya Krishnam Premam Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauradhishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Bandam Matergati Matsarvasvapadam Boja Radha Madanamo Bhano Divyat Vrindaranya Srimad Ratnagara Sinhasanastho Shri Shri Radha Srila Govinda Devo Preshthani Senyamanusmarami Shri Mandra Sarasalumhi Vam Shiva Tathastitaha Karshanne Nusvanairupi Gopinatha Shriyestu Naha Vrindaye Tulasi Devyai Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupasvarupakam Bhaktamataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhavamaha Gavani Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Budhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Shvadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Harer Nam Harer Nam Harer Nameva Kevalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyata Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hindi Kirtan Guru Charana Kamal Bhajaman.
So it's on page 359 and it starts with Guru Charana Kamala. So Guru Carana
Thakura Vaishnavagana, Kori E Nivedana, page 43. 43.
Starts Thakura, Thakura Vaishnava.
Gana. Oh, if you do not have a book, then Jiva Pavana Prabhu always kindly and mercifully posts the bhajan in the comment section of the thread. So just scroll to the most recent comment by Jiva Pavana Prabhu and you will see the bhajan is there and you can follow along with us. He also posts the translations and beautiful commentaries and so much nectar. So keep an eye when you say Jiva Pavana Prabhu's posts. So many amazing things come there. So thank you Prabhu for
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Jayo Vaishnava Thakur, Jai Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jai Vaishnava Thakur. Jayo Vaishnava Thakur, Jai Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jai Vaishnava Thakur. O Prabhu Kripa Karo, Hare Daya Karo, Kripa Karo, Hare Daya Karo. Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharva.
So it's on page 47, and it starts Y-A-N-K-A-L-I Rupa. Yang Kali Rupa.
Srila?
I can't.
So it's not too high. Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata. Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata. Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata. Tanraja premo mohani gudharika. Tanraja premo mohani gudharika. Sambhadram Bhavirajitam Yes, but later. For sure. Page 61, Nitai Gunamani Amar. We love that bhajan.
Starts Nitai, N-I-T-A-I-G-U-N-A. Nitai Gunamani Amar.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Coolant is leaking into the room.
I'm choking.
Yeah, shouldn't be like that. Ujjvala varna, Gauravara deham, Vilasata niravati, Bhavavi deham. UJJBALA
270.
BARANA.
Page 270.
Docento Satanta. If you don't have a book, Jiva Pavana Prabhu very kindly post the bhajan in the comment section of the thread. So go to the most recent post and you will find it there by Jiva Pavana Prabhu. You can follow along with us. I'm searching for the page for Yashomati Nandana. Page 237. Maybe coolant.
We're choking here.
Yeah, we are choking. We shouldn't be. Yashomati Nandana Brajamaro Nagaro Gokula Ranjano Yado We might need to get a little fresh air in here. Just that one on the side there. It's easy to get to. It's already unlocked, right?
No. Yeah.
340 what?
341.
341. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Jaya Radhe Jaya Narayan Maharaj ki jai, Har Naam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare. So, because we have these special guests, Radha Bankin Rai, they're named after the Thakurji of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. I wanted that you could have pre-darshan of these Thakurji. Sudevi just made some quick shringar for them.
It wasn't quick.
Well, she spent hours and hours and hours. And so I was just...
They're about 300.
Yes, they're about 300 years, from 300 years ago. They're not old at all. They're ever fresh, ever youthful. So
this is them. I'll give them darshan of everyone. And the babies. Oh, there they are. Okay. Aren't they gorgeous? So sweet. Okay. Hey, Kishori Mohanji, where did you go? I didn't know where you went.
now it's become a worldwide issue. I thought she would be a little bit more couth than that. Sudevi's usually on the ball when it comes to this stuff.
I wasn't looking behind me. I didn't know you disappeared.
But since I disappeared and now everyone knows, I have reappeared.
Sorry, devotees.
So since, Sudevi?
Yeah.
Now you have to come out over there. It's okay. Because of that, now we have to sing a song for you. From when we were little. Because of the disappearing. But except the word disappear wasn't there, we just used to think it said disappear.
Disappear.
When we were little, we didn't understand what dissipates all fears was, so we used to say disappeared. So it starts like this. Blue skies, white clouds, Krishna and Balaram, following the cows, over on Govardhan, where the cows stray. The cowherd boys will play with Krishna and Balaram all through the day. That wasn't the dissipates all fears. Wrong one. I don't even know. His holy name alone can liberate us from death. Oh, it was the Putana one. I don't remember the beginning of that one. We'll have to remember that and sing it another time.
But it's true, we used to say disappears because we didn't know dissipates.
Wherever he appears, see, we'll have to come up with it for Krishna's birthday. Wherever he appears, he dissipates all fears. His holy name alone can liberate us from death. Putana got his grace and went to his own place. So I can't remember the beginning of that.
Okay.
All right.
Forgive me, Vaishnavas, for that time period.
What? We got to sing a song for it. So. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Nityanamine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shumate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad astottara Shri Srimad Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja. In the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam at the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad astottara Shri Srimad Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including all of those who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Radhe Radhe.
So today we will continue going beyond Vaikuntha. It seems like a very strange concept, a strange title, going beyond Vaikuntha. Because Vaikuntha has many different chambers. It has less personal chambers and more personal chambers. Or you can call it chambers of depth of concentration of transcendental ras, relationship and ecstasy, what Krishna experiences and also what the devotee experiences. Then you can see it like some kind of concentric circles. So the outer greater circle, that is like greater Vaikuntha. But then within that there are varying depths of transcendental relationship. So within Vaikuntha there are realms which are more intimate. So Vaikuntha, generally when you hear Vaikuntha, you think of Srimad Narayan and his transcendental associates. All of the associates in Vaikuntha, they have forms similar to the Lord. So also they are appearing like Narayan with 4 arms, also similar complexion, similar ornamentation and everything. I think that is called Sarupya Mukti, when one attains a form similar to that of the Lord. And all the ladies appear also like Lakshmis. But there is a specific detail which makes Narayan, in essence, different from them. One, he is in charge, he's the king, he's the ruler, but he also has something known as Shrivatsa. So it's 3 hairs or 3 lines on his chest, denoting that he is the master of Shri, of the goddess of fortune. So in Vaikuntha there is Shantaras, and maybe some idea of Dasya. Some mood also of servitude. They're offering prayers, and there's general neutrality. And there's Aishvarya Bhav, knowledge of the opulence, the majesty, the greatness of the Lord. But if you go a little bit more condensed, it means more intimate. That becomes a little less prominent. So like in Ayodhya, you see the relationship that the devotees have with Sri Ram. They're more personal. They're not all, in essence, uniform. There, in Ram Lila, Ram has parents, Dasharath Maharaj, his own mother, Kaushalya, and his other mothers, Kaikeyi, Sumitra, and so many others. Dasharath Maharaj had many queens. And then you see that he had brothers, and he has, it's not that he's just always present, but you see that he grew up from childhood, and then he accepted a wife, Sita, and so many pastimes are there, where he appears like a human crying in separation for his wife, and regaining her from the demon Ravan who kidnapped her. So it becomes more personalized, more intimate. And then you see in the relationship with Dwarkadish Krishna, more intimacy, more relationships, so much sweetness is there. But even going deeper, you see how Krishna is in Mathura and then in Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan you have no pure Shantaras. Everything is mixed. Everything is made of ecstatic transformation, transcendental love and affection for Krishna. And then from that there's Dasya, and there's even no pure Dasya. Even the trees, even the Yamuna River, everything has some kind of transcendental loving connection. The cows have Vatsalya Prem for Krishna. The calves have Sakya Prem for Krishna. Vatsalya means parental love and affection. Sakya means friendship, mood. And some of the trees and creepers, they also have some kind of madhuryata, some kind of mood like the gopis, offering their fruit and everything at the lotus feet of Krishna. So in Vrindavan also you see so many varying levels of rasa. Srila Rupa Goswami speaks about this in the 9th verse of Sri Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction. Vaikuntaj janito vara madhupuri tatrapi rasotsavat vrindaranyam udarapani ramanat tatrapi govardhana radha kundamihapi gokulapate premamrita plavana kuryad asya virajito giritte sevam viveki naka. So Srila Rupa Goswami is talking about transcendental condensation of ecstasy, of rasa. So greater than Vaikuntha, Vaikuntaj janito vara, Madhupuri is Madhupuri. This can be considered Mathura Mandal or Braja Mandal. In all of Braja Mandal, Tatrapi Rasotsavat Vrindaranyam. The forest of Vrindavan is considered more because in Vrindavan, Rasa Lila takes place. Here at Bangshivat, Krishna is playing his flute on a full moon night, on Purnima, Sharat Purnima. Seeing that moon, which is very, very bright, but also with a reddish hue, it increased anurag within his heart, the desire to do ras. At that time, he played on his flute, and by that flute call, millions of gopis came running from all directions to engage in Rasalila pastimes with Krishna. We have been discussing this point in this book, Going Beyond Vaikuntha. So Vrindavan is Rasa Utsav, Rasalila, the festival of Ras takes place. Udarapani Ramanat Tatrapi Govardhana. Tatrapi means thereafter. Tatrapi Govardhana. Why Govardhan? Because Krishna himself lifted Govardhan on his finger. His little finger of his left hand. What is this representing? Our Gurudev explains that the left side represents Shakti, and he's showing that from the little finger of his left hand and the little fingernail, this is the maximum of his Shakti, showing that Srimati Radhika is also his, you could say, Swamini. She is his everything. And why did he perform this pastime? Specifically so that he could have unimpeded darshan of his devotees, especially the gopis. And if you know anything about Govardhan Lila, then you will understand why Krishna's hand began to shake. And who saw him? Who recognized? How is it possible that he can be shaking like this? Baladev Prabhu, his older brother. He saw Krishna. He was wondering, why is he shaking? And then he followed the eyes of Krishna and saw what Krishna was looking at. Srimati Radhika. Then Krishna saw that Baladev noticed and he became a little shy. So at that time, Krishna was fulfilling the desires of all of the Brajabasis, that they all had unimpeded darshan. They were drinking the nectar of the beauty of Krishna for 7 days and 7 nights in an emergency situation. Normally all could not mix, but because of this emergency situation, all Brajabasis were completely nourished and satisfied with this darshan of Krishna. Radha kundamihapi gokulapate premamrita plavanat. And within Govardhan, even more deep, greater concentration of transcendental ecstasy you will find at the greatest condensation of transcendental ecstasy you will find only at Radha Kunda, where there is an overwhelming deluge of prema. Prema amrita plavana, nectar of prema, completely drowning everyone and everything in this divine ecstasy. That is at Radha Kunda. So going beyond Vaikuntha is very appropriate, because Vaikuntha is the beginning of personal relationship with Bhagavan. Before that, there's the effulgence or the nirvana, or sometimes it is known as viraja, the dividing point between the material and the spiritual worlds, the effulgence of the Lord, which is, in one sense, some call it nirvana, without variety. So the idea of personal relationship is not present there, but that is not within the nature of the soul, so the soul can never find its full satisfaction there. Because the nature of each soul, as we spoke yesterday, is Jiver Swarupahoy Krishner Nitya Das. All jivas, their intrinsic nature is that they are eternal servants of Krishna. So if you're stuck in any place where you're not able to serve, this is not fulfilling the nature of the soul. If you want to fulfill the nature of the soul, if the soul wants to become completely satisfied, then Bhagavatam says, Yato bhaktir arhokshaje. Give your love and affection to Krishna. That means love and affection is expressed through the medium of service. And who serves? That one who's in the position of Das. I am the servant of Krishna. Krishna is the supreme controller, the supreme enjoyer, and everyone and everything is for his purpose. So what mood of service we will have, that is already predestined. According to our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, it's already present inherently within every jiva. But there are different levels of concentrated ecstasy. And Radha Kund is considered the most supreme. So Srila Rupa Goswami says, Kuryad asya virajato giritate sevam vivekinaka. You show me that person who is actually intelligent, who would not want to do bhajan, render service to Radha and Krishna 24 hours a day, residing at the foot of Giriraj on the banks of Radha Kund, who would not want to do seva there. Show me that person with intelligence who would not want to do it. In other words, only someone who's truly intelligent would want to do such a thing, would want to render service to the pastimes of Radha and Krishna 24 hours a day at Radha Kund, at the foot of Giriraj. So, going beyond Vaikuntha, it may be that someone's eternal intrinsic nature is to be there in Vaikuntha with Srimad Narayan. It may be. And the eternal associates of Vaikuntha find that to be absolute perfection. Srila Gurudev explained that even the insects of Vrindavan, they don't want to be anything else because they consider that perfection. That is their nature. But if that is not your nature, then you will never ever feel fully satisfied. That's why Gopkumar was not satisfied in Vaikuntha. Something was missing. And others were looking at him like, what's wrong with you? He was not fully satisfied in Ayodhya, not satisfied in Dwarka, not until he attained his perfection in Sakyaras with Krishna in transcendental Vrindavan. So for us, this is also a sign of hope, that because of our eternal nature, we will not feel satisfaction until we finally attain that, and yet we don't want to waste time. Why? Because one moment of separation from the perspective of those who are really tasting their transcendental relationship with Krishna, one moment of separation in service feels like millions and millions of years. So it's quite painful, that separation mood. So they don't want us to have to experience that, therefore they give us transcendental literatures like Brihad Bhagavatamrita or this commentary that our Srila Gurudev gave. So now we will enter into this book, not book, treasure. Sri Sanatan Goswamipada manifested Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita And our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, manifested this beautiful Rasik Bhavuk commentary, which is known as Going Beyond Vaikuntha. So first, before entering into this treasure, we'll pray in the dust of their lotus feet. In the words of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Vairag Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatna Apayana Mam Anubhikshamandam Kripam Vidyadya Paraduk Duki Sanatanaspam Prabhum Ashrayami. Begging in the dust of their lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods which are present within these pages manifest within our hearts. So yesterday, Srila Gurudev was explaining that we cannot understand the nature of bhakti or yogamaya through mundane logic. It's not possible. We cannot say, this one is qualified for bhakti and this one is not. We cannot say, because mercy has its own nature. Mercy is not necessarily dependent on someone who's qualified. Mercy is kind of dependent upon its own capacity to be melted by sincerity. So someone may have so many qualifications, but yet they don't have a necessity. They don't feel so much of a necessity. And someone else might be completely unqualified in every way, but be desperate with necessity. And that may call mercy more. But who or where mercy goes, we cannot say. There's a verse, Brahmand Brahmite Kaun Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. That Jiva soul who is extremely fortunate by the mercy of Krishna receives Guru in his life, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, by the mercy of Guru Krishna, then Bhakti Lata Beach. The desire to serve Krishna is awakened in one's heart. So how do we know which one is qualified to receive that great mercy? Kaun Bhagyavan. Who is fortunate? Who is extremely fortunate? What makes one soul more qualified than another soul? We're all eternal. We're all eternal associates or eternal servants of Krishna by our intrinsic nature. We're all in this material world, covered in different ways. We've all been wandering throughout the multitudes of universes, experiencing our karma since time without beginning. So why is it that only 1,000 are selected at any given time? Why not all of them? Why not that one over there? Or why not me? So why or when or how Krishna chooses to show his mercy is not up for our questioning. I think I have read a quote from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada along those lines. If anyone has that quote, you're welcome to post it. One cannot really question why Krishna does what he does when he does. For example, it is said that during Chaturmasya, he's resting. So he gives some rules. If you follow these rules, you'll get all of these amazing benefits. And if you don't follow these rules, then you'll get all of these amazing demerits. So just don't disturb my rest. Basically, I'm resting. So then we follow certain rules. And those who follow the rules will get it, and those who don't won't get it. But he's given the mercy in a certain way. Why he chooses to do it that way, that's up to him. How he chooses to create, that's up to his desire. How he chooses that this one will awaken now and that one maybe tomorrow, that's up to him. I see it like this. You have a bag of rice, a big bag of rice. And on any given day, you go to make your rice, you dip your big ladle inside, you grab the rice with the ladle, or the spoon or the cup, and which grains of rice go into that cup for that particular day? Why? Why was that group selected for that day? We cannot say. And tomorrow will be another group. So This group today can say, yes, we're the chosen ones. And then tomorrow another group will say, yes, we're the chosen ones. But we cannot say that that one is less qualified than this one, or this one is more qualified. It just happens to be that on that particular day, so many grains of rice went into that cup. The fact that we have all somehow come into the association of pure Vaishnavas like Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudeva Maharaj, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sri Maharaj, and so many others. The fact that we have somehow come into their association and heard this kind of Harikatha coming in the line of Rupa Goswami, you can be assured that we have somehow got caught up in that cup, which means we are now being called for seva. It doesn't mean that others are not, because also we're instructed that we should call everyone else, come on, get ready for your turn. It's also time for you to serve. But somehow we have been collected. Now is your time to serve. This great, great mercy. What makes this jiva any more qualified than any other jiva? We cannot say. It's not that we are more qualified. It just matters when and how the Lord has chosen to give His mercy. Any great, fortunate jiva whom the Lord chooses to give His mercy to. So Srila Gurudev is speaking about this subject, particularly by the arrangement of Yogamaya alone, we will receive proper understanding. There are some of His pure devotees who understand. If we don't receive the mercy of Yogamaya, we will not be able to understand. And I've heard Gurudev many times, he would explain things. When people would ask very complex questions which seemed to be irreconcilable, like about Jiva Tattva. One time he said, what we're telling you for now is something that so you can have some idea. But in reality, it is much more amazing than you can ever comprehend with your mundane mind, intelligence, and ego. It's transcendental. The jiva is transcendental. Transcendental subject matter is beyond the realm of the material mind. He said, so it's actually much more amazing. And then he would always follow that with, you should do Nam Bhajan. Means take shelter of Hari Nam Prabhu. Chant with sincerity. And then gradually you will be able to understand and realize all of these transcendental truths. But if we're only trying through our mundane mind and ego, we can only comprehend so much, and only from a material perspective, because the mundane mind and ego are also material. But through the mercy of Guru, through the mercy of Vaishnavas, through the mercy of Shastra and Krishna, even these can gradually become somewhat spiritualized. And therefore what they tell us, we can accept as truth. But if we're just trying to calculate it on our own, I just made this motion, it's a sign of madness. It will actually drive us mad because we cannot calculate the infinite with the finite mind. It's not possible. Or the finite intelligence through our material senses. That's why Krishna is known as Hrishikesh. Hrishikesh means master of the senses, and he is adhokshaja, beyond the realm of the senses. So the senses have no way to ascertain or to calculate that which is divine, transcendental, or infinite. Even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita about the soul. Some see him as amazing, some describe him as amazing, some find him to be amazing, and others just can't understand. The soul, each individual jiva soul, what to speak of the Param soul, the supreme soul. Even Krishna cannot calculate himself. Maybe he can, because he has the power to make the impossible possible, but yet he cannot find the end of his own glories. How glorious is he? So Gurudev is saying only by the mercy of Yogamaya. So Narada told Gop Kumar, to enter Golok, you must understand these points. Then you will be qualified to render service there. Otherwise, you will remain here in Vaikuntha and have dealings with Narayan in a similar way as the Kumaras. So the Kumaras, they have a mood of awe and reverence for Narayan, having smelled the fragrance of the tulsi leaves that were on his feet. Previously, they were said to be Brahmagyanis, means they had knowledge of the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. But simply by the fragrance of the tulsi manifesting or emanating from the feet of Srimad Narayan, this adjusted their heart, and they actually came into the mood of servant, or having an appreciation for the awesomeness of Srimad Narayan. But it is said that they only had brief darshan, and then after having brief darshan, they returned to their abodes. So Narada Muni is telling Gopkumar, I know that you're not satisfied here. You won't be satisfied here. You need to understand everything I'm instructing you so that you can progress. Otherwise, you will just go back to where you were. So there's some necessity for us to receive, to hear, and to experience the knowledge which Guru and Vaishnavas and Shastra are giving us. They're not speaking for no reason. They're constantly speaking, trying to get us to understand foundational, essential points so that we don't fall prey to anything which can be a detraction from our progress, which can slow or halt our progress or even derail us from our progress. Today I was reading from Srila Gurudev, and he was so particular about what he was presenting. And if something was even slightly off from what he wanted to give, even in the translations or anything, even sometimes Shamarani Didi, she would say that Gurudev would even say, I said this in the Harikatha, but that's not what I meant to say. He was explaining that his knowledge of the English language wasn't very sufficient for him. And he wanted to make it very clear, so he would actually make an edit that you should add this when you are broadcasting it. Add something, make some adjustment, clarify it so that people understand properly. He didn't want anything going out in his name that would misrepresent his mood. He was very, very careful about that. So today, in this book, Secret Truths of the Bhagavatam, amazing book, I read something quite impressive, and I wanted to share it with you, because Srila Gurudev was telling us how we should hear, how we should give our ears, and how we should give our heart. That it's not just a simple thing, but what they're trying to give, we should really try to accept it. And I found it to be quite impressive, meaning that it made an impression on my heart. If I can find it. He was just saying how important it was that we should... Oh no. I read it, but I can't remember exactly where I found it.
Just paraphrase it.
No, it was so perfect. Just bear with me a moment. Don't worry, I'll talk very fast to make up for... Oh, here it is. So right after his Mangalacharan, he explained how we should hear. Try to hear very patiently, with deep honor, and try to understand. Do not do any work during this class. So many people might be making garlands or sewing for Thakurji or doing anything else. But he would say, don't do anything else. Hear patiently with deep honor and try to understand. Allow your mind to be controlled by my words. This is quite an interesting statement. Allow your mind to be controlled by my words. It means don't let your mind go anywhere else. Have your mind fully absorbed in what Sri Guru is speaking. Give up all other activities, like sleeping or anything else. Many devotees would be nodding off or anything, but he would say, making garland, whatever. whatever they were doing, he would say, give up all other activities and give me your ears, give me your hands and all of your senses only for a couple of minutes. This means full absorption through all of the senses. Afterward, you are free to do as you like. Do not sleep and do not yawn. Sleepiness may come, but try to control it. Sit straight so that sleep will not come. You should hear very patiently and with all of your energy. This is how he would instruct us to listen. Why? Because he was trying to impress some things very important into our hearts through the medium of our ears. Be present. Be open fully and hear what I'm trying to give you. I'm doing this for your benefit. Don't be spaced out here and there. Don't be doing other things. Don't be concentrating on anything else. Give your full energy and all of your senses. And then what would he do with that? Then he would purify all of those senses. He would give Harikatha and he would impress that within our hearts. So I just felt it was essential to share about this mood of proper hearing from the sadhu, from Sri Guru. How to listen, how to hear, and apply it, not just to receive it, but then to follow through. Accept what Guru is giving and then move forward from there. So, in the context of what Srila Gurudev was telling here in this book, Going Beyond Vaikuntha, he's telling that Narada was telling to Gopakumar, you must understand all of these points. What I'm trying to give you, what I'm telling you, you have to understand it. Otherwise, you will be in a state of dissatisfaction, you will become disappointed, and then you will just go back where you came from. But he wants them to progress and to move forward. So listen very carefully. Then you will be qualified to render service there if you listen very carefully. It's through the medium of the ears. Shrinvatam svakata Krishna, punya shravana kirtana. Hridyantasto hyabadrani vidunoti suhritsatam. By hearing the Harikatha of Krishna, hearing. And also dharma svrushtita pungsham vishvakshana katha suya. By developing attraction for hearing the Harikatha of Krishna. This will give qualification. So Gurudev wanted us to focus everything and to listen for that divine nectar. To drink through the holes of our ears, the divine nectar coming from the mouth of Sri Guru. If we don't listen, I heard Gurudev say, if you don't listen, then what can I do? What can he do? He's trying to give us something, but we're not listening, we're not accepting, we're not responding to it, then what can he do? Sometimes he would even be disappointed. I keep coming and telling you the same thing, but you're not making any adjustment, you're not making any change. You might even be going downward or backward. Why do I even come? Why am I wasting my time? I was doing bhajan in Vrindavan, he would say. I was doing bhajan in Vrindavan. And he said, I didn't need to travel outside. I did this for you. So please take my time. Take my life seriously. He was begging us, please take it seriously. I have left my bhajan physically in Vrindavan for your benefit. So please don't waste my time. He would beg us like this. Now, he said, I will explain the next verse. From Brihad Bhagavatamrita 2:4-166. Patni sahasra jugapat pranikam dravyam sabhunkte bhagavan yadaika pashyanti tanyatra yata pratishvam ado mamadat tatadeva me iti. Tadeva me iti. Bhagavan Sri Krishna simultaneously ate all of the meals offered by his queens in such a way that each queen thought, he has accepted his meal from me first. Krishna had 16,108 queens in Dwarka. And Krishna himself expanded himself into 16,108 separate forms, although they are all non-different from himself. Each one was relating with each queen. Each one was moving independently from another. And each queen was seeing that Krishna is mine and he is accepting from me. I don't know if each queen knew that Krishna was expanding himself, but Narada Muni saw from a higher perspective that in every palace, Krishna was manifest, and he was interacting individually and at different times with those queens and all of the associates in that palace. Whereas any yogi of this world might be able to attain some kind of potency where they can multiply themselves, but according to our gurus and sadhus and shastra, if any jiva gets that power to multiply themselves, when one form, the original form, moves his hand up, then all do that at the same time. It's kind of not a very good power if you can't control individually. But Krishna was not like that. He was able to function independently from, each one was able to function independently of each other. And yet they were all one and the same at the same time. So, here Narada is saying that once he went to Dwarka and saw a very peculiar pastime of Krishna. And this is told in Srimad Bhagavatam. So many queens were there, including principal queens such as Rukmini. Krishna had thousands of wives there. How many? 16,108. First one to post it wins. Okay. They all prepared many different kinds of preparations, and they wanted to see whose offering Krishna would consider the most beautiful and the most delicious. They all invited Krishna to their respective places. And they were all watching to see whose palace, that says palaces, please forgive me. They all invited Krishna to their respective palaces, and they all were watching to see whose palace he would go to first. They had already given invitations to Krishna. It was understood that whomever could take Krishna into their home on this day and serve him drinks and feed him would possess the topmost good fortune. Seeing Krishna emerge with Narad from the Sudharma assembly hall, all of the queens eagerly stepped out of their palaces. Narad was thinking, whose palace will he go to first? Just then, Krishna assumed as many forms as there were queens and entered the palace of each and every one of them simultaneously, apparently unbeknownst to each other. So all of those queens could not recognize or understand this, but Krishna understood this. Each one thought, Krishna is coming with me, and they didn't recognize the others. Narada also expanded into as many forms and followed behind him. So here we hear something quite interesting. Krishna has expanded himself into so many forms, but Narada himself expanded himself into so many forms. How many forms of Narada are there? According to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, Krishna is fully manifest in every atom of creation, and he is not alone. His Shaktis are also present within every atom of creation, and they are not alone. The Dham is also present within every atom of creation. Everything is present. Krishna and all of his transcendental pastimes and all of his transcendental associates are present within every atom of all of creation. Which means they are naturally expanded unlimitedly along with Krishna. We hear from Sutta Goswami the prayer to Srika Gurudev Goswami. Yang pravrajanta manupetyam apetakityam dvaipayano viraha kataraya juhava putreti tanmayataya taravo vinedus tan sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi. He's saying, I see that my Gurudev is situated within the heart of every living entity. Tang sarvabhuta Sarva Bhuta means all living things. Hridayam, in the heart. Muni Mahanatosmi. He is situated in the heart of every living entity. So Narada Muni expanded himself into as many forms that Krishna expanded himself. How many in this particular case? 16,108. This is also possible for great devotees. We should not think them incapable of doing that. We shouldn't think that they are not capable of also expanding themselves like that. There is only one Radhika, but when Krishna becomes Narayan, she becomes Lakshmi. When he becomes Vaman, she becomes the Lakshmi of Vaman. And when he becomes Mahaprabhu, she expands into Vishnu Priya and Lakshmi Priya. In this way, wherever there will be pastimes, she will be there. When Sadashiva becomes Shankar, then she becomes Parvati. This is quite interesting. All of the Shaktis are manifested from the original Shakti, Srimati Radhika. Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shaktiman. Radhika is the complete or original Shakti. Krishna is the complete or original possessor of all Shakti. And from Srimati Radhika, Uma, Rama, Satya, Shachi, Chandra Rukmini, Radha Avatar Sabe, Am Nayavani, all the Vedic scriptures reveal that all of the Shaktis, Uma, like Gurudev said here, Parvati, Rama, goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, her another name is Rama, Satya, Shachi, Chandra, Rukmini, the queens in Dwarka, Radha Avatar Sabe, all of them are the avatar or the manifestation of Srimati Radhika, according to all revealed scripture. So we should understand that every potency, any Shakti has its original manifestation from the prime Shakti, that is Srimati Radhika, Purna Shakti. From her, all other Shaktis are manifesting. And from Shaktiman, Krishna, also all other forms of Bhagavan are manifesting. So this is very interesting, because in one sense it seems like it's all one, which is true. This is called Advaigyan Tattva. That is Brajendra Nandan Krishna. But within that oneness is infinite variety and infinite Shaktis. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coined this beautiful term, Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. The absolute truth, Tattva, of the inconceivable difference and not difference between the Supreme Lord and everything which is manifested from Him. It's simultaneously one, but also variegated and different. This is a Chintya Veda Vedavad. It's inconceivable for us to calculate on our own, but by the mercy of Guru, by the mercy of Gauranga, by the mercy of Harinam Prabhu, it can be understood to some extent. It is the same. So Gurudev was saying that when Sadashiva becomes Shankar, then she becomes Parvati. She meaning Srimati Radhika. It is the same for devotees who are Rasik. Now here comes a very interesting subject. It's going to get deep, so be ready. Some devotees are satisfied in only one Leela, while others go to all Leelas, and assuming many different forms, taste many different pastimes. We hear this, it's in the introduction, I think, or the purport to the first verse of the Brahma Samhita published by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. That there's a speciality of those who are coming in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that they can manifest simultaneous forms in both Gaur Leela and Radha Krishna Leela, which are both eternal. You mean a soul can be more than one? Yes. A soul can expand itself and experience many different rasas and bhavs in relationship with Krishna. Gurudev is saying right here, and Shastra confirms this point. Some are satisfied in only one lila. Here's an example. There's Jai and Vijay. They're the gate guards of Vaikuntha. The Lord desired in his heart to fight. The devotee immediately reciprocates with any desire of the Lord that I want to fulfill his desire. So immediately Jai and Vijay desired, we want to serve the Lord in this way. Immediately Yogamaya made arrangements for the 4 Kumaras to come, for them to block the 4 Kumaras, for the 4 Kumaras to curse them to become demons. And this was all part of the plan, because the Lord desired to fight. These 2, Jai and Vijay, manifested themselves. Srila Gurudev explained that the originals remained in Vaikuntha as the gate guards there, but expanded themselves in the form of Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, and served the Lord by accepting from Yogamaya this concept, the bhav of demons, and they fought the Lord, and by this the Lord was pleased. And then as Ravana and Kumbhakarna, as Shishupala and Dantavakra, they were fighting with the Lord. And this was pleasing to the Lord because he had desired to fight. They still had the mood that I am demons. The originals remained and they were expanded for these pastimes. And the last expansion, the demon inside was destroyed, but the devotee inside was able to thrive. That was in the form of Jagai and Madai in Gaur Lila. So the demon, the darkness inside was destroyed and the bhakta was awakened fully by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So others go to all leelas and, assuming many different forms, taste many different pastimes. Merely tasting one leela will not satisfy them. So we see that Narada is present in every leela. Narada has a form in Dwarka, he's as Narad, and he is also expanding himself and seeing all of the pastimes of Krishna in Dwarka. He's in Ram Leela. He's in Vaikuntha with Narayan. He's traveling everywhere. Narada Muni Bajai Vina Radhika Ramana Name. Always playing on his Veena and chanting the names of Radharaman. Going everywhere. And also in Vrindavan, Narada Muni is present as a cowherd boy in the form of Madhu Mangal, one of the Priya Narma Sakhas of Krishna. As a gopi, as Naradiya gopi, he's also present. In so many different pastimes, in so many different forms, in all leelas. You see Narada, his presence is everywhere in all of our shastras. So he's a very special personality. Baladev Prabhu is also expanded in every single rasa. And Srimati Radhika is also expanded in so many different ways, in practically every single rasa. So Gurudev is saying that Narada is like this. For those who are rasik, it is difficult to say where they are. Narad visits Narayan. And in the same form, he also goes to visit Ram. But the Narad that goes to Ram is different from the Narad that goes to visit Krishna. So, although they are one, yet they are different. That expansion is experiencing his own rasa. That one and this one. This is with Ram, this one is with Krishna. Gurudev is saying they're different. They're not different in tattva, but they are different in bhav. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of science right now, for those of you who are interested. Even in this material world, they've done experiments with light particles. Shooting a single light particle at a very fine kind of cone structure, they recognize that that single light particle suddenly takes two separate forms, although it's one light particle. At the same time. It can be in two places. And it's quite baffling. Even in a material conception, this idea is present. But to speak of the transcendental conception, where the impossible can become possible. So think about it. If Krishna in one universe is manifesting and performing all of his transcendental pastimes in any Bhoma Vrindavan, And as Srila Prabhupada said, in the second in the next universe, and in the third second in the third universe, and in the fourth, unlimitedly, that means that Krishna's pastimes are constantly going on in every universe, which means that all of his transcendental associates are expanded in each universe, and they are also experiencing and serving in those pastimes. This Nanda Baba here is also not different from this one in tattva, and yet maybe there's also a difference. This one is not necessarily saying to this one over here, hey, guess what we experienced today? Expanded unlimitedly in Krishna's pastimes and experiencing unlimitedly. One in tattva, but perhaps difference in bhav. Here Gurudev is saying exactly that. Narada that goes to Ram is different from the Narada that goes to visit Krishna. Not different in tattva, means the essential foundational truth aspect, but different in bhav. Each of these expansions of Narada has his own sthayi bhav. Sthayi means fixed, bhav means mood or sentiment. So each of these expansions of Narada has his own permanent sentiment. Each individual one has its own sentiment, although essentially they're the same, but yet different. Let me give you a mundane example. Please excuse me. Okay, there's one Kishori Mohan example. I have a different, it's one me, but my relationship with my wife is different than my relationship with my father, different than my relationship with my mother, different than my relationship with my brother. And I have a fixed relationship with each of them, which is not the same as the other, although it's one person. The difference between me and them is that for each mood, they also have an expansion. They have an expansion. Krishna's each mood has its own expansion. So, in essence, you would have your permanent relationship with your father, with that expansion, permanent relationship with your mother, with your brother, with your sister, with your wife, with your children, however. But each one would have its expansion. And Krishna manifests like that individually to each jiva of the entire creation. We each have our own little Paramatma riding with us, the size of a thumb. That's what we've read in Bhagavatam. Our each own individual personal form of Bhagavan, who's relating with us, and how we relate with Krishna will not be exactly the same as how any other jiva relates with Krishna. Cannot. Because each jiva is inherently an individual with an individual loving relationship with Krishna, which means he reciprocates according to each individual jiva's love and affection for him. And because of that mood of reciprocation, there is in essence a particular form of Krishna for each individual. That is the nature of this tattva. But we might not recognize it like that. But tattvically it makes sense. So here, does that make sense to anybody? Shiva Pavana Prabhu. Same TV, different channels. So Narada Muni, he's the same one in tattva, but different in bhav. And we've seen that with Krishna. There's one supreme Krishna. One supreme. Ete chang sakala pungsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. From whom all other forms manifest. Unlimited, like waves in the ocean. Unending, unlimited, forever. We cannot count how many manifestations of Krishna there are. Because it is unending. Unending, unanta, without any end. And therefore his glories, his qualities, his pastimes, his names and forms are also without any end. And even in one form, he has endless glories, endless beauty, endless qualities, endless pastimes. In one form, what to speak of unlimited forms. So his glories are exponentially, infinitely, to the power of infinity, always increasing and dynamic and amazing and beautiful. So here, Gurudev is saying Narada is not different in tattva, but he is different in bhav. Each one of his own expansions has its own permanent, fixed sentiment. Just as Krishna says that he will never leave Vrindavan, it is like this with the devotees also. Vrindavanam parityaja padam ekam nagachati. Krishna never steps one foot outside of Vrindavan. The original Krishna. Rajananandan Shyamasundar Krishna. Mahaprabhu says of him, Advai Gyan Tattva Braje Brajendra Nandan. The supreme non-dual absolute truth, the origin of everything, the original is Krishna of Vrindavan. And he never steps one foot outside of Vrindavan. So then who steps foot outside of Vrindavan? Any other bhav. From him, all other forms manifest. Ram Adi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu. All of these manifesting forever. But Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramapumanyo. Krishna himself is the source of all of them. He is the supreme origin of everything. So just as Krishna says he will never step any foot outside of Vrindavan, it is like this with devotees also. The gopis will never leave Vrindavan. The original Balaram never leaves Vrindavan. The original Srimati Radhika never leaves Vrindavan. All of the original associates of Krishna never step one foot outside of Vrindavan. If they do, it will only be in another form, as expansions. And it is the same with the Gopas, the cowherd boys, also. So that Srimati Radhika who goes to Kurukshetra during the eclipse, and those Brajabasis, we cannot say that it is the exact same. Does anyone know the name of Srimati Radhika or that title for Srimati Radhika who goes to Kurukshetra? Can you differentiate between the one in Vrindavan and the one in Kurukshetra? There's 3 different forms. Can you mention them and differentiate between them, please? Write it down. Jiva Pavana. Jivas as different as each snowflake. Thank you, Prabhu. Krishna also is like that. The original Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, but he has unlimited manifestations outside of Vrindavan. As Ram and Narasingha, Vaman, Vaikuntanath, Srimad Narayan, all of the Vishnu forms, so many unlimited forms. Paramatma in each individual's heart, unlimited. But the original Krishna never steps foot outside of Vrindavan. If they do, it will only be in another form as expansions. And it is the same with the Gopas also. So I just want to go back a little bit. Up here, Srila Gurudev said some devotees are satisfied in only one lila, whereas others will go to all lilas. And assuming many different forms will taste many different pastimes. So we don't know. We cannot say which one or who will be able to experience or taste many different forms. But we should remember that Vrindavan is not an ordinary place. The transcendental associates of Krishna are not ordinary personalities. Who has attained perfection is also not an ordinary personality. In Vrindavan, it is said that Chintamani, every particle of dust, Vrindavan Dham itself is Chintamani. Whatever desire you have, it can be manifest in any moment. Every tree is Kalpa Vriksha. You know we say Bancha Kalpataru Bhyascha Kripa Sindhuvi Evacha. Kalpataru or Kalpa Vriksha. Vriksha means tree, Taru means tree. Kalpa Taru means whatever desire one has, that tree can fulfill that desire. So we call wish-fulfilling trees or desire trees. The 6 Goswamis are sleeping under a different tree every night. Why? Because those trees can fulfill whatever desire you have. And what's their desire? Please reveal within my heart whatever pastimes you have witnessed of Radha and Krishna. Surabhi, every cow of Vrindavan is also Kamadhenu. Whatever desire you have can be fulfilled. So any moment anyone has any desire in Vrindavan, the only desire anyone has is to serve Krishna. So in that moment, that reality can take place. And it can take place what you can think of as physically or by bhav. When the gopis are feeling that, you can read it in Krishna book, they're feeling some kind of transcendental, I want to use the word jealousy, but it's not jealousy, desire. Oh, the cowherd boys, they're so fortunate. They're able to freely play with Krishna at any time of day, and they don't have to worry about what anyone's thinking. We don't have that capacity. If only we could be like them. Now think about it from our perspective. We have something called daydreaming or night dreaming, and it feels real. Inside their mind's eye, bhav netra means the mood of the eye, but the mind's eye, they're having some kind of inclination. Whether it's having an external manifestation or not, it's still something present there. And according to our Gurudev, according to our Shastra, according to the definition of Rupanuga, according to what Srila Govinda Maharaj said, according to so many different transcendental perspectives, we understand what is Rupanuga, who has this mood of serving Radha and Krishna in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan under the guidance of Rupa Goswami in the group of Lalita Sakhi. This is the most pure definition of Rupanuga. And Srila Gurudev explained again and again and again that our Guru Varga coming in the line of Rupa Goswami, they all have this mood. And that our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is also just like them. But then we have a prayer that he's writing. So how do we reconcile that he's manifesting Sakya Bhav? Oh, it's so nice to have this thought, this remembrance, this feeling. And yet he's telling the mission or our Krishna consciousness movement is how to become one of the Gopi Jan. That this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. This is what Rupa Goswami came to give. This is the mood of our Goswamis. Only a Gopi, not a Priya Narmasaka, is qualified to broadcast the mood of the Gopis all over the world. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes it quite clearly. Only a Gopi can do such a thing. It cannot even be done by the Priya Narmasakas like Subal, Sridham or anyone else. And Nikunjayuno Ratikeli Siddhyai Yayali Bhir Yuktirapekshaniya. That the spiritual master is expert in assisting the gopis in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan. And what kind of assistance? Very near and dear, so intimate, so near and dear. So all of our Guru Varga have explained that even where the other gopis, like Lalita Vishaka, Chitra Champaklata, Ashtasakis, and all the other gopis cannot go, those who are coming in the line of Sri Rupa Manjari Pada Semor Sampara Semor Bhajana Pujan, they will have access to the most intimate Nikunja Seva of Radha and Krishna.
Also Gurudev talked about the Gopi Bhav Mantra.
And then our Gurudev spoke about the Gopi Bhav Mantra, that my Gurudev cannot be wrong, that he is giving this sannyas mantra, this Gopi Bhav Mantra to Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, who is a Sakha. So Gurudev said, when I hear that he is only of this mood, it causes pain to my heart. Because the most complete conception of him is that he is of that nature. Like Sri Rupa, exactly like that. Like my Gurudev. Like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, his Gurudev. Like Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Like all of those in our Rupanuga Guru Varga. So, speaking on this particular subject, it's interesting because it helps us to get an understanding from the Shastric, Tattvik, and from the words of our Guru Varga, how to reconcile this properly. Not to remove that, I'm going to use the word gopi-ness of our Guru Varga, but that within that, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita says, all other rasas are present within the higher rasa up until their completion. So within Sakya Bhav, you have completeness of Dasya and Shantaras. Everything up to Sakya Bhav is present within. There's a whole series of verses in Chaitanya Charitamrita back to back. Within Vatsalya Ras, everything, including Sakya Ras, up to its maximum is present within Vatsalya Ras. And within Madhurya Ras, all other rasas up until their maximum point are contained within that Madhurya Ras. Sakya Bhav to its maximum. So it may be that from time to time an expression will manifest from any of the other rasas, as Gurudev here is saying, that some may desire to taste pastimes in different ways. And so we have seen in Krishna book, in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, how the gopis are desiring to also play like that with Krishna. Oh, when will that day come? I've had this remembrance. That's how it can be reconciled without making our Gurudev and Guru Varga wrong, without making Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami wrong, without making Prabhupada wrong. What did he do? He distributed the mood of the gopis all over the world, and Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami said, only a gopi can do this. Only a gopi can do this. So, this particular subject is quite fascinating because it brings us to a very refined, very clear understanding of how all of this can actually take place. That there can be other manifestations of bhavs serving within this lila or that lila or in this situation or that situation. It is possible. It can be done. And when we attain to perfection, we will also be able to understand to some extent or comprehend how it might be possible from the sadhak perspective. And when you're within it, you might not even realize it. But Narada Muni was able to expand himself into so many forms to witness all of the pastimes of Krishna. So, I just want to finish this one little paragraph and then I will end here. When Nard enters Brajadham, he is Madhumangal. At Govardhan, at Narad Kund, near Kusum Sarovar, he performs austerities and worship for what purpose? His desires have not been completely fulfilled. O Krishna, I have seen what it is to be in Sakyaras. I have seen what it is in Vatsalya, and I have also taken a look at Dasya. Now, O Lord, what is remaining? He desires to experience that also. And taking another form, it may be possible. This is Madhurya Ras as Naradiya Gopi. So what a powerful, beautiful section here describing all of these very refined truths. Srila Gurudev is just giving a little drop of understanding in this, but how full is it? So Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Thank you Ramkanta Prabhu for sharing that. Vrishabhanu Nandini, Radhika will never leave Vrindavan. Vrishabhanu Nandini. Viyogini Radhika will also not give up Vrindavan to go to Kurukshetra, although she is weeping. So we know there's one Radhika who's constantly weeping, like at, where is that? Uddhav Kyari. Viyogini Radhika. And some Yogini Radhika, she goes to Kurukshetra. Thank you, Prabhu, for that. I didn't realize the time flew so fast. So, we're going to have another darshan after this kirtan. Please stay and you can have darshan of Radha Bino Bihari Sachinandan Gaurahari, beautiful Laddu Gopal, and his little sidekick, Laddu Gopal. As we were just talking, multiple expansions, and also Giriraj, Govardhan, Shalagram, and the very, very special, non-different manifestation, but guests, Sri Radha Banking Rai. This is named after Sri Nityananda Prabhu's Thakurji. And they're very ancient and at the same time ever fresh. Navayovana. So please stay for the darshans. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Nishirandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai, Radha Bihari Ki Jai, Radha Bhakti Rai Ki Jai, Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Hari Ram Sankirtan Ki Jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai, Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Jai Gaura Premanande Hari Thank you very much for being with us today, for giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful and amazing teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, and for engaging us in our Guru Seva. We look forward to being with you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Radhe Radhe,
Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. We might not see them tomorrow, so last darshan.